Slavophilism and Theosophy continued. Mahasahib as half-Slavonian sage. Carlos Cardoso Avellino. The 18th century initiate Count Alessandro Cagliostro helped anticipate the HBB mission which started the following century. HBB wrote about Cagliostro and defended his efforts from slander. Cagliostro personally visited Masonic and mystic lodges in Russia, Poland, and Latvia during the reign of Catherine the Great. At the time, Latvia was part of the Russian Empire. Note: Cagliostro, La Méthode inconnue by Mark Haven, 1912 edition, chapter 4, pages 49-93. The 1995 edition was published by Editions Derby, Paris, chapter 4, pages 49-86. See also on Masonry in this period the book Nikolai Novikov, Enlightener of Russia by Gareth Jones, Cambridge University Press, 1984, pages 272-273, and the books by N. O. Losky and V. V. Zinkovsky on the history of Russian philosophy. The book by N. O. Losky is available in the associated websites. The end of the note. Cagliostro's connection to Slav countries was not isolated fact. Before H. P. Blavatsky, several Russians were disciples of the Himalayan sages. A direct occult connection existed between Russia and Asia, and H.B.B. wrote in The Secret Doctrine. There is a well-known fact, a very curious one, namely that there are several documents in the St. Petersburg imperial libraries to show that even so late as during the days when Freemasonry and secret societies of mystics flourished unimpeded in Russia, that is, at the end of the last and the beginning of the present century, more than one Russian mystic traveled to Tibet by the Ural Mountains in search of knowledge and initiation in the unknown crypts of Central Asia, and more than one returned years later with a rich store of such information as could never have been given him anywhere in Europe. Several cases could be cited and well-known names brought forward, but for the fact that such publicity might annoy the surviving relatives of the said late initiates. Let anyone look over the annals and history of Freemasonry in the archives of the Russian metropolis, and he would assure himself of the fact stated. Note: The Secret Doctrine, H. P. Blavatsky, Volume 1, pages 35-36. The end of the note. Turanian people include parts of Russia, and HBB mentions the existence in ancient times of a common Turanian religion before the separation of the Chinese and the other tribes belonging to the Turanian class. Note: The Secret Doctrine, H. P. Blavatsky, Volume 1, page 29. The end of the note. A 19th century fact illustrates the strength of the Slavonian connection within the inner side of the Theosophical effort. The two Raja Yogis who were in closer contact with Helena Blavatsky, Henry Alcott Damodar Mavalankar and other Theosophists during the first years of the Theosophical movement had a colleague who was higher in wisdom than themselves and whose advice they were glad to follow. Such a master of masters is mentioned in Theosophical literature as Master Sahib or Master S. Several letters written by him are published in Letters from the Masters of the Wisdom Second Series, TPH India 1925, and HBB once admitted he was, however, Slavonian in his present incarnation, as he himself wrote to Colonel Olcott in New York. Note: HBB in pertinent queries see Collected Writings, tph, Volume 10, page 153. More information on the Mahasahib or Master S can be found in the article The Observatory of Luxor by CCA. The end of the note. While the seeds of a wiser civilization begin to sprout amid challenges that seem to be overwhelming, the dharma of the esoteric movement in Russia includes expanding its connection with the deeper roots of Eastern Slavic culture and the real sources of inspiration for the theosophical effort, and helping mankind as a whole adopt a more integrated and brotherly view of life. It is from the point of view of the centuries-old Slav culture that a more effective esoteric movement in Slav countries can help mankind understand the ancient doctrine of the heart that transcends words. The esoteric movement from every country has something to learn from the Russian soul and Russian culture so as to better live and express the law of universal compassion in daily life. An initial version of the above article was published in the February 2013 edition of the Clarion Theosophist. The text was updated and revised on the 4th of April 2022. Carlos Cardoso Aveline was born during the Cold War in 1952. He has had since childhood a degree of familiarity with Russian culture and literature. The feeling expanded when, during the early 1970s, his father lived in Russia for 1 year after being a political prisoner in Brazil. The video was edited and presented by an associate of the ILT, Olga Antonovna Fedorova.